Hello guys, it's Sunday, so as usual let's have a look at the most interesting urban development news from around the world. By the way, I make these episodes weekly, so subscribe to the channel not to miss the future content, and before we start I'd like to thank to all my amazing Patreon supporters. Recently, the international exhibition InnoTrans, dedicated to transport and mobility, has finished in Berlin. This year it gathered almost 3,000 exhibits from 59 countries, and I think we will be talking about it in many future episodes. Hamburg City Senate has approved funding for the second section of U5 subway line construction. The first section from City North through the Zengelmannstrasse interchange to Braunfeld, which is already under construction, will be extended by another 2.6 kilometers, and two stations will be built at Borgweg with the transfer to U3 and Jahrestrasse. The total cost of construction is 1.5 billion euros, and the finalized layout of the site with two additional stations was presented to the public at the end of June 2024. The Borgweg extension should be operational earlier than previously planned in 2033, followed by the Jahrestrasse extension 2 years later. The section between City Nord and Borgweg will be built underground in the Stadtpark area using the shield tunnel method, while the next section to Jahrestrasse will be constructed as an open pit. U5 will be the first fully automated driverless subway line in Hamburg, and once completed will run along 25-kilometer route with 23 stations from Braunfeld through City Nord, Winterhude, Uhlenhorst, the main railway station, and others. It is currently the largest underground rail project in Germany, with an estimated construction cost of 16.5 billion euros. The first section from City Nord to Zengelmannstrasse is scheduled to open for passengers in 2029, and it will be operated by 48 four-car trains from Alstom. Meanwhile, China has opened a new 276-kilometer Hangzhou-Wanzhou high-speed rail line, which is designed for speeds up to 350 km per hour and has 5 new stations and 4 modernized and expanded ones. It serves the cities of Jinhua and Taizhou and will be operated by 38 trains per day. The fastest end-to-end travel time is 1 hour and 27 minutes. Several more high-speed lines are also planned to open later this month. Among them is the Meizhou-Longchuan section of the Longyang-Longchuan line with a speed of 250 km per hour in the southeast region of China. The Longyang-Wuping section was opened in December 2023, and construction of a 102 km Wuping-Meizhou section has just begun. The line with $2.6 billion budget is scheduled to be completed in August 2028. Also, last month began the test run of the 99-kilometer Yinchuan-Huinong section of the 519-kilometer Yinchuan-Baotou line. The maximum speed of this section is 250 kilometers per hour. And finally, on August 29, a train departed Zhuangchang for a test run of the new 111-kilometer high-speed line to the northern part of Jishi, marking the beginning of trial operation. The 350 kilometers per hour line, which has one intermediate station in southern Ningguo, is expected to be open by the end of this month. Meanwhile, Chicago Transit Authority has announced the introduction of AI-based software for weapon detection in the subway. In a promotional video, Zero Eyes says it uses existing surveillance cameras in combination with its own artificial intelligence to detect weapons. And as CTA said, Zero Eyes employees first verify that detected object is indeed a firearm and then notify local law enforcement agencies to respond immediately. However, this initiative has its critics who point to problems with false alarms, such as the case last October, when a shadow cast by a student's hand triggered a school lockdown in Texas. But anyway, the annual contract between CTA and Zero Eyes is worth $200,000. Next year, the first test of a self-driving tram will start at the tram depot in the Franowo district in Poznan, Poland. If the tests are successful, the autonomous tram will be on the streets of Poznan in the future. However, the initial work must be carried out in a closed, safe area, and that's why the modern base in Franowo, with a track length of almost 14 kilometers and an infrastructure resembling a small town with a level and pedestrian crossings over the tracks and traffic lights, is a perfect place. The central project objective is to develop and implement tools for detecting hazards during a trip, and AI will help with this. The autonomous tram will recognize signals, maintain a certain speed, stop in certain places, and, in general, react to potentially dangerous situations such as pedestrians or speeding cars running red lights. In Casablanca, Morocco, two new tram lines T3 and T4 were opened for operation after more than a year of testing. These lines combined have a total length of 26.5 kilometers with 39 stations. Line T3 is 14 kilometers long and connects Al Wahda and Salmiya districts with Casa Port through 20 stations. Line T4 is 12.5 kilometers and has 19 stations. The new lines are being added to the existing T1 and T2 tram lines and BRT lines, which also has numbers 1 and 2. Initially, 24 twin Alstom-Citadis X05 tram systems with a capacity of 600 passengers each will operate on the lines running at 10-minute headaways, and later the fleet will increase to 40 tram sets with a reduced interval of 5 minutes. The new line are expected to carry about 20 million passengers in the first year. Meanwhile, Cardiff has launched a public consultations on proposals to build a tram line connecting Central Station with Cardiff Bay. The project is expected to be approved in 2025, with opening scheduled to late 2028 or early 2029, and so far £100 million has been allocated for its development. In Denmark, the Regional Council of the Zealand region has decided to purchase 14 modern battery trains, which are to be on the rails by the end of 2028 and replace the old diesel ones built in the 1990s. These new trains will replace about a half of all trains on local railways in the region and will reduce CO2 emissions by 51%. They will be produced by Stadler and will be equipped with electrical and internet sockets, tables, and many other amenities, and will be able to travel at speeds up to 160 km per hour. At the same time, by mid-2027, about two-thirds of the diesel buses in the Zealand region will also be replaced by battery buses. Suzhou Rail Transit has inaugurated Line 8, adding 35.6 kilometers and 28 new stations to its metro network, and moreover, just in June they opened another Line 6 from Suzhou in the northwest to Saitiandao in the east, adding another 35.2 kilometers and another 30 stations. And both lines are served by B-type trains built by CRRC. Line 6 runs 46 car trains and Line 8 41 trains of the same length. Representatives of FA Trenes de Chile visited Marco Polo rail plant in Brazil to see production of trains ordered by the operator. In January 2023, they signed a contract for the supply of 3 Prosper VLT double-car diesel trains for a total of $15 million. These trains are intended to be used on the 88-kilometer narrow-gauge line, which connects the coastal resort of Constitución to Talca and was reconstructed in November September 2022. The budget of that reconstruction amounted to only $1.9 million, but it reduced travel time from 3 hours 15 minutes to 2 hours and 45 minutes. The line goes through a region that is poorly served by other forms of public transport and passes over the Banco di Arena Bridge over the Maule River, designed by the famous French civil engineer Gustave Eiffel. New trains are to replace the current ferro-style ADM rail buses, which were produced back in the 1960s. They are designed, these new ones, to carry 223 passengers and will be equipped with air conditioning, places for disabled people, and a toilet. Delivery to Chile is expected by the end of this year. And that was all the news for this week. By the way, feel free to write about interesting things happening in your cities, cause it helps to make these episodes much more diverse and interesting. So, for now, thanks for watching and hope to see you here again next week.